Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. This is my first time back in a Canadian winter in the last 5 years, and I'm ready to leave again.
Fair enough, fair enough.
No, it's just the winter, just getting into my bones. But I do like the winter, but it's the coldness. It's just haven't experienced something being in like under 0 degrees. So it's like minus. It feels like minus 20 right now,
Yeah.
and yeah, my joints can feel it.
Yeah, no, and I was gonna say the winter is pretty weak this year, so
I know. That's what I've been hearing. Everyone's like, no, the winter has been so good. I don't know. Like, did I just bring in like the Arctic
I
winter
think
now? Like,
I think climate change is just coming.
a
It's
hundred percent it's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
climate change. Yeah.
Like the Rideau Canal, like it's not gonna open ever again. Like
Really? You
yeah,
think
yeah,
so?
like it's
I,
not cold enough.
I thought it was just open this weekend,
It's open for people to like walk on it,
but not
but
skating.
nah, not skating.
That's actually kind of really sad because I had like some of my best memories just skating on that canal. Like as a kid, also teenager and young adult. Like getting your friends going, skating, getting some hot chocolate and beaver tails that cost an arm and a leg, but like you
Hmm.
just do it because it's just like festive.
Yeah,
Also like Winterlude was always super super fun,
yeah.
but I have not heard anything about that either.
That I'm pretty sure happened. It's
Okay.
just like the whole skating thing just isn't has not been a thing for the past like 2 years
Oh, okay.
because it's just not cold enough.
That's actually really sad.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But so for the people that don't know, for the people that are not in the rugby community, who are you?
Well, like you said, my name is Alex Ellis. I am a rugby player, international rugby player. I play for Canada. Kind of like a little bit of my journey. I started off playing in high school. My high school teacher actually got me involved, and that kind of spurred my passion. That after high school, I went to college. I played for Algonquin, which was amazing, and then I ended up playing for U Ottawa, or University of Ottawa, for the last bit of my educational career. And then outside of university and school, I played provincially for Quebec. That's is my provincial team. I will die and bleed blue. And I then got an opportunity to play overseas, and I played for Saracens in London, and then I'm currently in France playing for Stade Française. Um, and this is my first year playing in France, which has been a great opportunity. And yeah, I like I said before, I played for Canada. I participated in the last World Cup that just happened, and the next goal is getting to the next World Cup and going on tours and keep playing as long as my body allows me, which is a long time.
A long time. So the World Cup, yeah, you're talking about that World Cup. It's coming. So
Mhm.
how are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling from our last performance at the World Cup. I think we did a lot of great things, but I think there was a lot of things that we could do better. And we are not the same team as we were back then. And I think that we've grown and we've really progressed. And I think that we have extraordinary players that are in love with the game and want to progress the game, the women game in Canada. You see it in how they're playing in their clubs. And some of them actually moved overseas as well. And some of them can't, they don't have the privilege to move overseas because of family commitments, work commitments, but they're training and watching as much rugby as they can. So when we do get together, you see like the growth that we've all have displayed in the from coming from that World Cup. And there's a lot of new girls that are coming into the program as well that are like elevating our level and making everyone push to be their best selves. So, yeah, it's coming in 2025, and it's like around the corner. You have some time, but it's also around the corner.
It's yeah.
So it's I'm really excited to see. We have a few pack forward that is coming, and then Women XV that's later on in the year. So I'm really excited to see how we perform there. The last we just had Women X V that happened in New Zealand, which was an amazing tournament, and we could really see like how much we have progressed. And it was like our goal is like we're one of the top 4 teams, and our main thing is to still compete in the top 4 teams and start winning against England and New Zealand, and also France, to show that we are dominant, even though we have a little bit of setbacks with not having being contracted like them, but we still have the grit that we can show we are calibrity of players that can perform at that high level and be, when the next World Cup comes, be in that final and playing in it.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to start, gossip or rumors, but have you heard about a possible like Canadian like rugby league?
No, we all love gossip and rumors, don't get me wrong, but I have heard a little bit of hearsay about a possible league in Canada, which I think would be so huge. I think it'd be amazing. It allows a lot of girls or a lot of women to come into the league and get that high quality games, because you can see like a little bit of the difference when you play, high quality games in overseas. Like you just tend to get better, you tend to push yourself, and you tend to know the game a bit better. So having that in Canada, I think that will be a huge push for rugby in our country and allow us to develop in such a different way, and also to like get a lot of the girls who decide to go overseas just to stay, because sometimes like we just do want to stay in Canada, and we do want to continue to give all ourselves in our own Canadian league, but there isn't really an opportunity. We have like provincials, but it's only in the summertime, and it's very short, and it sometimes it's like ebbs and flows. So I think having like actual teams that we play the States or different teams in Canada, I think it's going to be like huge and so beneficial.
Mm-hmm. So how has it been? How has it been playing tight head for the Pink Rockets? Like, how has that been as a front row?
I think playing tight head for any team, I think it's like you're kind of like you have to be being a front row. You have to be like it's one of the like being very strong and being like a pillar. So playing for the Pink Rockets, it has been quite like eye-opening and a learning opportunity for me in like a lot of different aspects in my game. A lot of, you know, teaching, and also a lot of working on my own technical aspects of the game, and also like my leadership, which I think that like is what I needed to work on a lot. And it's sometimes, not just like the Pick Rockets, but in any team, sometimes it's like your confidence goes high and confidence goes low. So I think that, playing a tight head, it's kind of just always having a great mindset going into like any game or any scrum that you go into, and just kind of working on like kind of like all your basic skills, and then kind of like being like, okay, I have all my fundamentals, and now let me kind of like show what I can really do, and like playing with some extraordinary players. I get to do like different things because a French league is very different. It's very like just a little bit of structure, but also play what you see type of thing, which I think I have been really enjoying. So yeah, Pink Rocket has been quite an experience so far.
That's awesome. And I think you mentioned something really important there that I really want to like hone on is that idea of no matter like how far you get into the level, it's the fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
It's the greats that. So tell me about that. How how like it's just about how good you are in the basics and the fundamentals
Mhm.
across all levels.
Yeah. So you can be a good player, but what makes you a great player or an extraordinary player is really understanding the fundamentals and not forgetting about that and like continuing to work on that. There's like, when we go into Camp for Canada, we there are times where we're like, okay, let's like go back to like our fundamentals, like in scrimmaging or skills or whatever. So you can always those fundamentals when you're like tired, when you hit a wall, those never fail you. And it's just like always continuously like practicing that. Like before I have practice, I always like, pass the ball. And it's just like, passing the ball, that's so simple. It's like you kind of do that as like, it's like out of your brain type of thing. But like really working on like hand positioning, the power, the force, whatever, those type of skills kind of to allows you to be use your skills um, in a more difficult situation when, you're about to get hit and you have a like quick pass and you know that like doing that will get to that person because you have consistently practiced those fundamentals and like you understand how your body works, how the ball like flicks off your fingers in a certain way, or how you even lift or how you scrum. Like there's certain ways where if I feel like a prop is hitting me in a certain way, what do I do with my shoulder or my arm, or like how do I kind of like get in the best position so I can succeed in that in whatever that's happening.
That's awesome. So like it becomes almost like second nature on the field,
Yeah.
like you get the feedback and then you get the response
Yeah,
instantly.
100%. And I think that's like important. Like that's what I know it's kind of been kind of discounted, but like the 10,000 hour rule. But like it's if you continuously practice on like the small little things, like it just like you said, it just becomes second nature. So you can always rely on that. And it's you don't forget about it. You always come back and you always keep practicing those little things. So like when you have bigger things or complex things, like it's easier for you to catch on or for it's easier for you to kind of do them because you already have those like fundamental things on pat.
Nice. What would you consider your key strength as a player?
My key strength, I think my key strength is just I think it's two ways, I guess. um, One that's popping in my head is I'm a very like um, empathetic player. So off field, I'm a very empathetic person and a great listener and like can really understand like the full picture in certain things. So and like also like just helping like culture and stuff. So I have a really big strength on that. And then my other strength is like I'll always work. I'm always working for the team. I get better for myself, but I also get better for the people around me. I have a in myself like I want to work my hardest because I know the person beside me is always working really hard and I don't ever take anything for granted. So, the little extras I do and I know that sometimes like when you're in this environment, it can get really tough mentally and having that like I'm having that outlet for someone to feel safe that they can talk to you or bitch at you or anything like that. Like I provide that, which people feel safe. We can just chat and just kind of see like different perspectives because I think that's super important. It's not just about like what you do on the field. It's also like what you do off the field and the people around you, how you elevate them as well.
Yeah, what's the percentage of performance that you would say like is like rugby and is like non-rugby when it comes to like rugby?
Yeah.
If you know what I'm
I
saying.
do. I get you. I get you. I would say, hmm, I think that it's probably like 80% like rugby and then 20% like mental. I think I can identify when I really have a good game is when I click in and I am focused and I am confident in myself and my ability, and I like mentally prepared. And I know when I'm not having a great game is when, those things like doubt kind of creeps in, and like not being confident and stuff like that. And you can see it like how you play. You can still be a great player, but like but when you feel like kind of less than yourself, or you're kind of dealing with a lot of mental issues, it's um you can see like your game can kind of get affected. So when you are like mentally in it and mentally ready, and and ready for the game, you can see like you're kind of like a day and night type of person. Like you can um you kind of just start playing with like more enjoyment. And it's just like, and I played with like when not feeling like I enjoy rugby, or I'm feeling less confident in myself, and those are like, those times are really hard, but I know those do come. But well, I when I play the games that I feel confident in myself, those are the times I like enjoy rugby, and I know that I play my best, and I have an outstanding game. Um, so it's like, yeah, I think it definitely like a bit of 80/20. That's why I think like mental health and having a sports psych, or having people that know, how to help a team get through like mental hurdles, like after a big loss or after like an injury and stuff. I think those are super important, because it is like the game is a very mental game. Like you push yourself to such a great limit that like, and sometimes people demand more from you. So it's just like, how do I kind of go past where I think is my threshold and go over that? And like, I've talked to some sports psychs, and they really help me through like when I'm not feeling the greatest, and how do I get past that the threshold I have for myself and get to the next level. And I think that that has really benefited me in where I've gone in my life.
Yeah, that's like a big piece of the game. I would love to like have you on a separate time just to talk about that, because
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about that a lot recently. I like how that block at, because sometimes it shows up for young female athletes at a
Mm-hmm.
young age
Mm-hmm.
where they stop the sports altogether.
Mm.
So when how do you deal with that as like a international rugby player? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's super interesting, and yeah, definitely the mental side is super important.
Mm-hmm.
And the last question I will ask you is, what does the game of rugby give you?
Um, I think the game of rugby really gives me uh like a community. I have some of my best friends, and I met some of the best people through rugby, and it's given me some of my biggest highs and some of my biggest lows. But I wouldn't change it in my wildest dreams. I think that like we're all on like a type of journey, and you know, when I was 15, I thought of my life going in a completely different way, and didn't expect myself like living in a different country playing rugby. I like after like even like in your head like rugby always has you're always going to stop sometime. Like I thought I was always going to just like be a really great club player or a provincial player or something like that. But I think that like what rugby gave me is this sense of becoming more of myself, and um, knowing that like I can push myself to places that I never thought I could, and like and keep going. Um, and and while I'm going on that journey, I have such amazing people along the side that, like, when I stumble or I don't feel that I believe in myself, I know that, like, there's five people behind me or in my corner or even more that believe in me so much that, like, I'm like, oh, I guess I believe in myself too. And I think that is just like such like a sweet feeling. And that's why I say, like, rugby has given me such a great community that, like, I know so many people in, like, literally around the world. And even if you don't know them like personally, you still like root for like people. Like, when I saw Kenya playing, and I was just like, oh my goodness, that's like amazing. Or you see Portugal. I have a few teammates on the Portugal team, and you're just seeing, like, I talk to them about their experience, and the Portugal team just came around not even like 10 years ago. So it's just like, yeah, so you just have the sense of community that, like, if anything happens in your life, like, you have different people that you can kind of relay on that experience with. And like, if you're ever in trouble, or if you need help, or if you're going to go visit someone, like, you can always have someone you can text and be like, hey. Or it's like networking as well. Like, I know that, like, I have a friend that has friends in Australia that I was like, oh, like, it'd be really cool to play in Australia. And they're like, oh, yeah, like, I have friends, like, I can connect you. And it's just like that. And also, when I came to play for France, like, I didn't know anyone really, like, coaches wise in France. And like, a teammate kind of got me in contact with and told me a little bit about like the French scene over there, and I was like, oh, okay, like, that's cool. So I think that, like, yeah, it's I'm a very like community based. I think that comes from my Caribbean background and my parents being immigrants, and it's very like community and holistic and just family. And I think that's why I thrive in those type of sports. I did a load of sports in high school, and those were individual and some were teams, and I think that's why I really gravitated to rugby, because it just allows me to be my best self in different aspects. And if I'm not my best self, if I have bad days, I know that there's someone there that can help pick me up and take me with them until I can stand on my 2 feet.
Yeah, that's amazing. What would you tell anyone who's like hesitant on joining the game of rugby,
Hmm.
either like coaching, refereeing, playing, even just like helping out, like just being a community member? Like, what
Hmm.
would you tell them?
I think just do it. I think, like, what some of my best memories are club rugby in Ottawa. And we have a lot of clubs in Ottawa, and, rivalries.
Yeah.
Forever Barhaven Scottish.
Thanks, Phoebes.
And, but, like, I think just go and just like talk to the people who've always been around. Everyone just they need help. Like, I think when I was here for kind of like a little bit of the summer, there was kind of like those sports day. Like, you kind of have like the men and the women, they play, and sometimes the juniors play in that day. And like, that is such a great environment where, like, you can talk to different people and get involved, and you know have help with the barbecue, or help with like flyers. And the under I would say, like, there's a huge like community in the under 18s and under 14s, and like PBs, and all, like, all
Hmm.
all the people under 18. um, there's so many great volunteers, and there's so many kids that are just wants to be involved, and they just love rugby, and they love, like, just like kind of running around. And like, rugby doesn't have to be so serious. Like, rugby is like, I play professionally. I take it serious, but like, it doesn't have to be. It can just be fun. It can be light, and it's just you play you play a bit of rugby. There's different types of rugby as well. Like, there's touch rugby too. I Before, I know that, like, on Saturdays or Sundays they play touch rugby in the summertime, and also in the dome too. So, like, if you don't want to do the contact, like, you can play that. And I know there's a lot of people of different ages. Like, there's some people who are like 12 who are playing, and some people who are like in their 70s
Hmm.
playing. And it's just like great. And then, in the terms of like refing as well, we need definitely, more refs and
Hmm.
more people who enjoy rugby and watch rugby and ref rugby, because, you know, when you kind of start, taking that away from the community. You don't get like a lot of people kind of trying to go for the next level because they don't know where to go. So I would say like having a little bit of when we had the Canadian tour in Ottawa, I think that was really great for the insurgents of rugby in the Ottawa area, just showing like kids, like young adults, older adults, coming in and just being like, oh, like I can play rugby and it doesn't matter where I am, like I can do it like touch rugby, flag rugby, or tackle rugby. And I know there's like old boys rugby, like people who are over 50 who play, and
Yeah.
I remember there used to be old girls rugby. However, I don't know if that's still going on, but I think just like going on social media and just asking, like, hey, like, how can I get involved? And I think like that's the biggest thing, like, kind of just going up and asking, and like, kind of continuing my rant, my tangent. When I started playing rugby, I went in the summertime actually, and they had like a booth, and I kind of just walked up to with my dad, and I was just like, oh, like, what is this? I want to play rugby. I played in like high school and stuff like that. And they kind of just gave me all this information, and I went home and I was like, all right, guys, like, you guys have to pay for me because I'm playing summer rugby.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like the simple, like, I don't know what's going on, but like just kind of just putting yourself out there. And then that's what rugby is. Like, you kind of put yourself out there a little bit, and then um and you'll have a space, even if you're super shy and you're quiet and all this other stuff, that there's a huge space for you there too. And then you'll have people who are very excitable that will kind of help you and bring you along. And yeah, I think it's just like kind of taking like that step, and going on social media or websites, or even talking to someone who's a part of like the rugby community, like a team, like someone from the teams or whatever, and they'll always give you contacts. So
Mm-hmm. Contacts, yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Alex, for your time.
No worries.
I hope we get to, and like hopefully this is like a fluid thing, like
Mm.
I would like to maybe do another interview. I know you're gonna go back to Paris, so another interview like on Discord or Skype or whatever.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining me today, and yeah, again, this is great. I think it's awesome, and I would love for you to be able to do this with your teammates, like
Mm-hmm.
for you to be able to capture their stories and their wisdom. Thank you for sharing yours today,
Mm.
and yeah,
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and I'm really excited to see where you take this. It's great concept, and I'm really excited to see who you bring on, and I'm gonna be watching and supporting.
Liddy. All right, well, done. Perfect.
Peace.